We have a tendency to use hindsight and be less than kind and less than understanding to those that we're reading about. But let's just be honest. If we were in the exact same position, wouldn't our first response have been fear? Like if we were in the exact same spot, wouldn't the first thing that would sprout up from our hearts to our mouths be to turn to Moses and say, "Why did you do this to us?" I mean, think about it for a minute. And I understand that they had seen many miracles, but also they were trapped, and there was an army of grieving fathers, men whose firstborn sons had been killed by their God, that were coming to bear down on them. This wasn't any army. Imagine what was in their eyes. It wasn't just grief, it was vengeance. Here they were. I think fear was a pretty natural response. But what we can't forget is that God had ordered all of this. And so there are these moments when we have to acknowledge our natural response, but then we have to lean into our supernatural God. And realize that I can be afraid, but I have to trust Him in the middle of my fears. God led Israel to go the long way. This was all God's plan. This was not something that happened to them. This was something that God was doing for them. He led them the long way. He led them to go that way that would hem them in and make them look lost. Because when they looked lost, God told Moses, "I'm going to harden the heart of Pharaoh, and I'm going to cause him to come after you, to think that he's made a terrible mistake, that you don't know where you're going." God put them in this position, and God was going to use it to do something in their hearts. They needed this. Sit with this for a minute. The thing you're praying your way through, what if you need it? The thing you're pleading with Him to get you out of, what if you need it? They needed that moment between the Red Sea and the Egyptian army. They needed to feel all of those emotions. They needed to be purged of all of that stuff, because before it could get purged, it had to get exposed. And before it can be exposed, we have to be put in the positions that squeeze it out of us, because we'll never tell the truth about it until the tension starts. We'll always say, "No, you know what, I'm fine, I'm good. If I was in that position, I wouldn't." Some of us are sitting here now saying, "No, not me." See, if I'd seen what they'd seen, I would have not been afraid at all. I would have said, "Hey, God's going to get us out of this." Not going to call you a liar, but I'm going to say the tension's going to squeeze until the truth comes out. And that's what God's doing, because there are things in all of us that need to come out from us, because He's making us like Jesus. And those things are not in Jesus. And as long as we push them down, we are not only holding them from the surface, we're holding ourselves from Jesus' image.